Brenda Harris, the woman who had terrorized our community with her rules and regulations, sat across the courtroom from me. Her face, usually a mask of haughty superiority, was now pale and strained. She had traded her signature fuchsia suits for a drab gray one, and the look in her eyes was one of pure venomous defeat. The civil suit against her for vandalism and the public defamation lawsuit against the entire HOA board had brought her, and them, to this very room. My lawyer, Ms. Reynolds, was a force of nature. She moved with a quiet, confident grace, her words a hammer blow to Brenda's fragile facade. She presented the video of Brenda attacking my car, the footage playing on a large screen for the entire courtroom to see. The image of the HOA president's face contorted with rage, slamming a clipboard into a defenseless car, was a powerful piece of evidence. The jury sat in rapt attention, their expressions a mix of disbelief and quiet contempt. The defendant, Brenda Harris, claimed Mr. Ryan was in violation of community bylaws. Ms. Reynolds stated, her voice calm and clear. However, as the evidence shows, she chose to escalate a simple disagreement into a violent act of vandalism. But this case isn't just about a damaged car. It's about a pattern of harassment and abuse of power. She then called upon several of my neighbors to testify. Mrs. Peterson, with trembling hands but a resolute voice, spoke about Brenda's threats to fine her for the height of her rose bushes. Mr. Garcia described how Brenda had tried to have his landscaping business banned from the community. One by one, their stories painted a picture of a neighborhood living under a constant state of fear, a micro-tyranny enforced by one woman and a silent, complicit board. Brenda's lawyer, a nervous man with a perpetually damp forehead, tried to argue that my neighbors were simply disgruntled and lying, but their sincerity was undeniable. Their voices, once silenced by Brenda's bullying, were now loud and clear, echoing through the courtroom. The final witness was called, a surprise witness that Ms. Reynolds had kept secret. It was a former HOA board member who had resigned in protest. He testified that Brenda and her husband, Councilman Harris, had been using the HOA's budget for personal expenses and had been pocketing the fines they levied on residents. He presented documents, a veritable smoking gun, that proved their fraudulent activities. The revelation hit the courtroom like a thunderclap. The jury, the judge, even the reporters in the gallery all gasped. Councilman Harris, who was sitting behind his wife, suddenly looked very ill. Brenda's face went white. Her reign and her husband's political career were now officially over. The revenge she had promised, the threat of being removed from the community, had backfired spectacularly, bringing down her entire empire with it. The judge called for a recess. As the court emptied, Brenda was led out in handcuffs. The reporters swarmed, their flashes illuminating her tear-stained, defeated face. She looked at me, not with fury, but with a profound and broken kind of disbelief. She couldn't comprehend how a simple scratch on a car had led to the destruction of her carefully constructed world. The jury deliberated for less than 2 hours. The verdict was unanimous. We won. Brenda was found guilty of vandalism and was ordered to pay for the full damages to my car, plus a substantial punitive sum. The civil suit against the HOA board was also successful, and they were forced to resign. A new election was held, and the neighbors chose a new, fair, and transparent board. My car was repaired, its hood gleaming like new. The scar was gone, but the memory of the fight remained. The neighborhood was changed forever. The silence was no longer the oppressive stillness of fear. It was the peaceful hum of a healthy community. Neighbors had cookouts, children played in the streets, and people talked openly, without fear of being fined for a misplaced garden gnome or a blade of grass that was too long. I saw Mrs. Peterson tending to her roses one day. She looked up and smiled at me. "Thank you, Ryan," she said, her voice filled with a genuine warmth. "You saved our little town." I just smiled back. It wasn't about being a hero. It was about standing up for what was right. It was a story of a regular guy, a new car, and a tyrant who got exactly what she deserved. And in the end, the only thing that got towed away was her and her reign of terror. The war was finally over, and the community had won.